Dwayne Johnson, I was wrong about you. The Smashing Machine is a brand new biographical sports drama written and directed by Benny Safdie, starring Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt. And after living for the past I don't know how long with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson content, right? Like, he's a professional wrestler turned actor. We kind of grew up with him watching his movies. He's always kind of doing the same thing. I just felt like he was never going to do anything different. He was never going to be anything different than the Jumanji character or the Black Adam character. You know what I mean? He's always playing the same dude in everything you see him in. And then I saw the trailer for this movie. I looked at the actor and I was like, dude, that's freaking Dwayne Johnson. Is he doing serious stuff now? And that's not to say that some of his stuff hasn't been good, but I did watch this trailer and I was like, I wonder if this could be good. And my friends, I've now seen The Smashing Machine, and yes, this movie is really good. And so what is up, my friends? My name is Danny. Welcome back to Jones Vibes. I do just want to preface off the top, this will be a spoiler-free review, so don't worry about anything like that. Make sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments as we talk about this thing, and let's dive in. So the synopsis reads, MMA fighter Mark Kerr reaches the peak of his career but faces personal hardships along the way. And you might watch some other reviewers out there, and some of them might have been familiar at all with this story, but I had never seen the original documentary. Basically, this movie is based off of the original 2002 documentary, The Smashing Machine, The Life and Times of Extreme Fighter Mark Kerr. And if you're unfamiliar with it, just like I was, this is a documentary about Mark Kerr. He was an amateur, mixed martial artist, wrestler back in the day, or fighter, I should say. And basically, he came up in a time before things got really big. You know, nowadays we have the UFC. This, fighting thing is massive. There are a lot of people that watch this, even the WWF and the WWE or whatever. You can tell how much I don't know about any of this, but that's what this movie is about. It's about this guy, Mark Kerr. He's one of the greatest fighters of all time, and it is a very beautiful story. But heading into it, really what I was looking for was to see what Dwayne Johnson's performance was like, because I've never seen him like this. I also love Benny Safdie as a director, so I was very curious to see what he would do with a fighting movie. Big fan of fighting movies. Warrior is one of my favorite movies of all time. I freaking love the Creed movies. It's a genre, Rocky, Southpaw, it's a genre that always delivers. Every time you watch a fighting movie, it just somehow does its job. It amps you up, it gets you excited, and there's always a little bit of heart mixed in there. Hell, even Never Back Down for those of you who have seen that movie. So I'm sitting here excited for something like that, but I did hear all the awards talk before the movie as well. So I had this feeling this film might be on a different level. And now on the other side of it, upon walking out, this is definitely one of the most unique fighting movies that I've ever seen in my entire life. And I feel like Benny Safdie was just the right man for the job for this movie. I'm happy that he's the one who decided to tell this story, because there was a lot of different things that he had to work with. Obviously, you're working with the true story of this guy, Mark Kerr, who is still living, by the way, and so you're trying to honor that legacy and tell this very deep and kind of dark at times story, but at the same time, you are working with somebody like Dwayne Johnson, who is a world-renowned actor. Everybody knows the freaking Rock. And so I feel like even talking about some of those other fighting movies where things could have come across stereotypical, and I think audiences would probably like it, this turned out to be more like jazz, where a lot of other films are more like hard rock or something like that. The best way that I can describe this movie without giving too much away is if you've seen the movie Warrior with Tom Hardy, and if you've seen the movie Whiplash, take those two movies, take those two styles, and kind of put them together. There's a lot of heart in there, similar to Warrior with the Nick Nolte stuff. There's a lot of that stuff within this movie, but there's a lot of that anger, some of that freaking crazy and wild rhythmic filmmaking that just feels different. You're watching these dudes beat up on each other, guys are getting their ass kicked in the ring, but there's this smooth jazz tone to it all, so where you're watching somebody get beat up, you kind of feel relaxed about it, if that makes sense. And so I wouldn't say that the emotions that you get in the climax of the film might be as high as, say, the climax of Creed or Rocky or any of these films, but you're gonna come out of this film with a few different things on your mind. The first one being, wow, Mark Kerr was a freaking badass. That is an amazing life. But the second thing would be, this is at least for me personally, I didn't realize how messed up these guys got in the ring. I did not realize how much these guys go through, how much they put their bodies through. And when you're trying to do all of that, obviously these guys that are inspired to fight like this, they have this I have to be the best type mentality. But when you mix that type of mentality with real world problems, problems, whether it be relationships or whether it be drug use. It is just the most chaotic freaking thing that you've ever seen, because you have to perform time and time again as a fighter. You're expected to walk out there and live the dream. You're expected to walk out there and be on top again, because that is the only reason why you step into the ring, right? And so I found this very brutal movie oddly beautiful. When it comes to the performances, I don't know how you can walk out of this film and not know for a fact that Dwayne Johnson is going to get nominated for Best Actor. I mean, he absolutely has to. Now, there are some other amazing performances this year, and we have yet to go. We have a while to go, and so we'll see kind of what plays out with that. I don't know if he could end up winning, but this is freaking incredible what he does. It's not just the makeup. It's not just like the bald cap or whatever the hell they put on him, you know what I mean? The dude clearly put in more work than he ever has. He is so freaking jacked in this film, but it's the personality of Mark Kerr. It's this very kind and tempered man that is in this rage-filled, anxiety-filled world that you have to sit and watch. And I've never seen Dwayne Johnson in a performance like this, and truly, I'm not going to lie, I didn't think that he could deliver something like this. And so this gets me excited for the future. Props to A24 for like bringing all of this together, and props for Benny Safdie for looking at Dwayne Johnson and being like, dude, we can do this. Like, you're not just the Fast and Furious guy. You know what I mean? You're not just the Jumanji guy. You can step into this world. Let's freaking go. But nothing would work without his counterpart in the movie, and that is Emily Blunt. And I'm not going to lie, again, when I first saw that she was cast, I don't know why, I kind of rolled my eyes, because it just looked like a supporting role, again, that I knew nothing about. I didn't know anything about the character, but it just looked like a supporting role where they just got some A-list talent. You know, you're like, okay, well, they just threw Emily Blunt in there to sell tickets, but my God, she is so talented, and the character that she is playing, she plays Mark Kerr's then wife, Dawn Staples, and it is the epitome of the most toxic person you could ever be around. Like, she is so insanely toxic. It is so cliche at times, it is so over the top at times, but then she does things within this film that really hit you in the heart, you know what I mean? Her character provides a majority of the gut punches that you have within this, and so watching all of this unravel, watching Mark Kerr's life go up and down and up and down, and the things that he has to deal with specifically with her, that's what makes this movie work, and those two together, it's freaking beautiful. But I don't feel like telling people to temper their expectations is the smart move here, because I think people's expectations are probably going to be blown out of the water. I would say just expect a different type of movie than maybe you are expecting. Go into this thing with an open mind and sit and watch it, and I think it'll wash over you in a similar way that it did for me. It's really heartfelt, it's really messed up at times, and I absolutely loved it. I do have a couple more things I want to talk about, though. The first being the drug use in this, and the topic of addiction that it addresses, because Mark Kerr has a very serious addiction to a certain substance, and you'll find that out in the movie, but the way that he uses it, and the way that it is utilized within his life, and also the way that he behaves about it, is a very interesting form of addiction that I feel like isn't talked about enough. It's these like functioning addicts that sort of just make it work, and they're living this double life, and you could hardly even tell because they're just such nice people. You know, addiction takes many, many forms, and sometimes it is aggressive in nature, and other times it's sort of calm. And I won't say that Mark's is the most calm in the world at times. I really did find it interesting the way that they portrayed him to be acting while he was under the influence of a substance, because it's reminiscent of just like some things that I've connected to in the past, and addiction is just such a heavy topic, you know what I mean? I feel like so many people out there, whether it be themselves or a family member or somebody that they're connected to, has dealt with addiction, and so anytime you see it on screen, anytime you see it within a story, it's not something to take lightly, and Benny Safdie freaking nailed it, dude. I thought there was just so much nuance there, and it kind of blew me away. But the last thing I want to talk about is something that I kind of already talked a bit about. It's just like how much these guys put themselves through, but also the fact that there have been people in the past that have been the best fighters in the freaking world that we don't know about. You know, Mark Kerr being one of them. This is a guy that truly was like the toughest guy, but it came at a time before these guys were household names, and the things that these guys put themselves through, I feel like they should be household names. It definitely has inspired me. I do want to go back and watch that 2002 original documentary about this entire thing, because it felt important, and it opened my eyes to a brand new world, and that world is fighting and martial arts and all of of that stuff. Truly, I've never been as into it as a lot of guys my age, but this movie definitely inspired me. So yeah, man, that is The Smashing Machine. I do want to give it my Jones Vibe star rating. I am giving this film 4 out of 5 stars, and I got no doubt about that. But if you've seen Smashing Machine, leave me your thoughts down in the comments. Even if you haven't seen it, are you gonna go see it? Let me know all of that down below. Your opinion is always welcome around here, but more than anything, my friends, I hope you're out there keeping up the good vibes, all right? I will see you in the next video. Peace!